What's good, y'all? Welcome back to a brand new episode of the weirdest videos from all over the internet. Without further ado, let's get to the video. Hope you enjoy this one.
So who is going to tell me that there are fully aquatic spiders? Get this. This is the diving bell spider. It's the only spider in the world that lives its entire life in water. Basically, it has the ability to trap tiny pockets of air using its hair. And then it takes these pockets of air underwater so that it can breathe. They literally take oxygen to go. That way, they can hunt various species of fish. Because why wouldn't a spider be hunting fish? I don't like this update. But what makes it even crazier is they don't just use the air for breathing. Sometimes they'll take the pockets of air and put them together to create one big underwater oxygen house. I wish I was joking. It's held together by webs, and they could live in there, eat in there, breathe in there. And their house acts like a gill. It pulls more oxygen in and releases carbon dioxide. Their house breathes. Moral of the story, they say you're never more than 10 feet away from a spider. I guess that counts for water too. And as
To
always,
be honest, I've never understood the people who get surprised when they hear stuff like this. Everything that's on land is also under the water. Like, I personally believe that like cockroaches and like bugs in general are literally basically like crabs and shrimps and prawns and lobsters, you know? Let me know if you agree with me. I know a lot of people disagree because they want to keep eating them. And I mean, you could literally eat bugs anyway, so do you. But I'm just saying that it's very not surprising that there's spiders under the water, because there's also snakes under the water.
The biggest mistake people make about evolution is thinking it's survival of the fittest. Really, it's survival of just being good enough to keep the ball rolling. This is the babirusa. You can find it on islands like Sulawesi. Their defining trait is the teeth growing out of their heads, but if males don't manage to wear them down, they can end up getting return spiked in the skull. But as long as it happens after they're done making bacon, evolution will remain Ray Charles to it. Female hyenas have to give birth to what looks like a male member, and it is as painful as you think it is. 20% of first-time mothers die in the process, and 60% of firstborns suffocate as well. Hyenas don't have a pseudo situation because it's an advantage, but because it wasn't enough of a disadvantage to make hyenas history. And what doesn't kill you, evolution will just remain Helen Keller to. In fact, sometimes nature reinforces the handicap. Like the peacocks with the biggest, flashiest feathers get the most attention from females. They're also the most likely to get flatlined by a tiger before they even have the chance to take off. Male fiddler crabs with the biggest claws are considered the high-value men. But the claw's so big, they genuinely can't feed themselves with it. And because crabs only have as long as the low tide to eat, it is a literal handicap. Claw-eat crab? Nope, that was sloppy. The best example is literally lions. Lions with the biggest manes move like main characters, and the darker manes are more attractive. But bigger, darker manes can also overheat an animal that's already wearing an afro, to the point where in the summer, some males will actually stop eating just so the metabolism doesn't heat them up even further. The real middle finger is they can get so hot that the very thing that makes them attractive to females can also nerf their ability to make babies, since heat stress can damage baby batter and cause defective swimmers. But again, if it's not enough to murk them all, then evolution says play ball. Even if it leads to a lobotomy, the more you know.
School bells around the world, part 1. Here in the USA, school bells sound like this. Well, I was today years old when I found out that different countries around the world have different sounding school bells. Like, here's what South Korea's school bell sounds like. Wow, that made me feel like I was in a real video game, but here's what a school bell sounds like in Indonesia.
Saatnya jam pertama dimulai.
I think that was pretty normal, right? But what about Japan? There's only two options with that bell. You either find it very terrifying or you find it very calming.
First of all, why is he so like excited and like triggered by all of this? And for him to say that there's only one singular bell in each country is like pathetic, because no matter what the country is, I bet you if you go visit 5 schools in there, they're each gonna have a different sound or like bell, whatever you want to call it.
maps that will change the way you see things. This map just gives you an idea that if Los Angeles was equivalent to Paris and San Jose was about equivalent to London, that Ukraine would be as close as Oklahoma and Texas. This map shows what age Americans are when they get married on average. Utah has the lowest at under 26 years old, and I believe that's because of the religious factors in Utah. While the oldest is Washington, D.C., I assume because a lot of people are, I don't know, doing political career stuff, maybe. I don't know. Someone from DC tell me. This map shows what the Great Wall of China would look like if it was wrapped around the coast of Europe. This map shows the percentage of Americans who trust other Americans 50 years ago. So you can see in the Midwest that more than 50% of people actually trusted everyone. The Texas area and elsewhere near there are the ones that trusted the least. It looks like only 30 to 40%. Here's the map for today. Now it's about a quarter of the Midwest that actually trusts other Americans, and Texas is less than 20% of people. TLDR, Americans don't trust each other anymore.
She knocked on her neighbor's door while holding her mother's head. In July of 2019, 25-year-old Jessica Camilleri's world would change forever after having an argument with her 57-year-old mother, Rita, inside of their home in Sydney, Australia. Rita wasn't just Jessica's mother, she was her full-time caregiver, her biggest support system, and those around her stated that was her closest companion. That night, the two got into an argument after Rita told Jessica she couldn't order more takeout. Jessica stabbed her mother over 100 times, mutilated her body, and decapitated her head. Multiple knives were used during the attack, and several of them broke because of the force. Afterwards, Jessica grabbed her mother's head and walked over to a neighbor's house to show off what she did before calling the police. Once officers arrived, their body cameras captured Jessica standing outside of the home covered in blood. She repeatedly asked officers if her mother was dead and if doctors could put her back together. Inside of the home, investigators uncovered a disturbing crime scene. Jessica was charged, but experts claimed that she had autism, ADHD, and dyslexia. In court, Jessica admitted that she was responsible for her mother's death, but later on, the jury found Jessica not guilty of murder, but guilty of manslaughter. Jessica was sentenced to 16 years in prison and will be eligible for parole in 2032.
I'm sorry, but what kind of excuse is this? She has ADHD. I mean, I have that myself. You don't see me on here. You don't see me on the news. And for her to do all of this because her mommy wouldn't allow her to order more donuts from DoorDash is pathetic. Like, I don't care how mad you are. If you do this over takeout, I mean, you deserve jail.
I just got back from watching Eli Roth's brand new horror movie Ice Cream Man, and I'm gonna be honest, this is by far the worst horror movie of the year. And I'm kind of pissed, because y'all know I was pretty geeked on this movie. I thought it was gonna be like a Thanksgiving meets weapons, but instead we got AI slop. The one thing I don't understand is how can you give us Thanksgiving? The movie was fun, kills were creative, we knew exactly what we were getting. And with the Ice Cream Man, I had high hopes because I genuinely thought the premise was cool. We're talking about a strange man coming into town who ends up serving kids ice cream that turns them pretty much demonic. On paper and from the trailers, it low-key sounded peak. It sounded like a weapons meets ice cream. But man, was I wrong. The biggest problem with this movie is the concept itself is cool, but it doesn't seem like they actually ever end up doing anything with it. Don't get me wrong, we definitely had some crazy kills. But besides that, that's about it. I'm not gonna lie, there are sections in this movie where you can quite literally see the difference between practical effects and how much AI was actually used. It looks completely out of place, which is confusing because some of the practical effects that they used for the gore was actually pretty good. And to be honest, the Ice Cream Man himself was probably the most interesting part about this movie, and I wish we got more from it. And now I just feel like the concept itself is wasted. There could have been so much more chaos, so much more storyline, so much more character development. I was expecting this to be one of the craziest horror movies of the summer. Creepy kids, brutal kills, and an unhinged Ice Cream Man hunting everybody down. But instead, I low-key walked out of the theater like, man, I wish I had my $20 back. All in all, I'm interested to hear what you guys think if you've seen the Ice Cream Man or if you plan on going to see it. I saw a lot of people talking about how much AI was used and they were not going to see it, so let me know down in the comment section below if you're going to see it or if you've already saw it and what you think about it. Because for me, worst horror movie of the year so far.
You really want to know what's creepier than the actual Ice Cream Man himself, even though I haven't watched the movie? It's the guy telling us about the movie. He's like so overwhelmed that he creeped me out more than the movie itself. Like, I'm not worried about the Ice Cream Man. I'm worried about this guy. Chill out.
Extra Morbid Facts, Part 239. In 2025, 32-year-old Sonia Exelby traveled alone from the United Kingdom to Florida after allegedly paying 53-year-old Dwayne Hall $4,000 to sexually abuse, torture, and ultimately kill her. Investigators say Hall purchased rope, paracord, a shovel, and other supplies shortly before picking her up at the Gainesville airport. Sonia had reportedly attempted a similar trip the year before, but it had been stopped before she could follow through. This time, however, messages she allegedly sent after meeting Hall suggested the reality was far worse than she expected. She was frightened, in severe pain, and appeared to no longer want what was happening to her. Despite this, prosecutors allege Hall continued holding and abusing her before stabbing her to death and burying her body in a shallow grave in a wooded area. Her remains were discovered about a week later. Hall was arrested and charged with first-degree murder and kidnapping and is awaiting trial.
I'm not one to deter people from watching movies because I think that you should see a movie and form your own opinion. That being said, I really don't think that people should watch this movie. It's weird and not worth your money. I just got out of my mystery movie screening, which was Eli Roth's Ice Cream Man, and this movie is horrible on all levels. And it's really a shame that the movie is bad because I actually like the plot of this, that the local ice cream man is like possessing the neighborhood kids. But unfortunately, the dialogue is horrible. The acting is just not good. The plot is so aimless towards the end of the movie. It feels so incredibly random that it's laughable. But also, the movie uses an insane amount of generative AI. Like, it looks so bad and it's so ugly that it just continuously takes you out of the movie. It's just lazy. You're lazy. But the real cherry on top of this shit Sunday of a movie is that there are disgusting jokes about a little girl with an eating disorder. Like, an actual line from the movie is, "I'm a 12-year-old girl. Of course I know how to make myself throw up." Like, who wrote this? Oh yeah, Eli Roth did. That's weird. You're weird. Needless to say, guys, I hated this movie. I gave it a 1/2 star on Letterboxd. I don't think it's worth your time, and I really don't think that it's worth your money. I would just go buy ice cream instead.
The picture you were looking at is the very last photo that Dalen Pua ever took. In 2015, Dalen was visiting his grandmother in Hawaii. He mentioned to her that he wanted to go hiking at Mauna Lua Valley Park the next morning. According to his grandmother, he said he was going to climb the Haiku Stairs, or also known as the Stairway to Heaven. The Stairway to Heaven consists of 3,922 stairs and sits just above 2,000 feet off the ground. This is a very intense climb, and for the average person, this takes 8 to 10 hours to complete. However, it is illegal to climb these stairs because in 1980, Hawaii basically banned it because of the extreme conditions of it. Meaning, if Dalen went on this hike, he would be completely alone. Or so he thought. On the night before, he posted to Facebook saying, "Hiking this insane hike tomorrow, wish me luck." His friends commented under the post warning him not to do this. But Dalen didn't listen, and at 11 a.m. the next morning, Dalen took what would be his final photo. The picture you are looking at looks like a bunch of trees around, but if I circle in red, there is a mysterious person following him. After this picture was taken, nobody ever heard from him again. A search team was sent out for 4 days, and on the very last day, people reported hearing a man screaming for help. The search team went over there to see what was going on, but they never found a single trace of him. And to this day, his body has never been recovered. His family has no idea what happened to him, and the Hawaii Police Department looked into this mysterious person and they never found anything about it. It's like he vanished without a trace. Let me know you guys' thoughts down below.
They were stolen and one was returned without his organs. This is an easily after Victoria and January. They let a house bodies up after the Asher called series this rich, but it
countering the black-eyed children. The sighting goes is
her brother never being found and the people responsible were never identified.
Texas is a hotspot for black-eyed children sightings. Now, the first sighting goes back to 1996 in Abilene, Texas. And since then, there have been hundreds of documented reports of people encountering the black-eyed children in Texas. Now, there was a very terrifying encounter just outside of Abilene, Texas, in a place called Albany. There was this 80-year-old woman named Helen. Now, Helen lived alone in the same house for 40 years. She said one night she was alone watching TV when she heard a knock at the front door. Well, she gets up, she starts thinking to herself, like, who would be at my door this late at night? I don't think I should open it. So she just ignores it. But then the knocking starts getting louder, and then it turns into banging. And whoever this is, they are banging extremely hard on this door, so much so that it's actually vibrating the house. So she walks to the door and she says, "Go away. I'm not interested. Like, leave. It's too late. Leave my house." But then she hears a voice. It's her son. He says, "Mom, it's me. Let me in." So she's like, "Brian, what are you doing here at 11 o'clock at night?" So she opens the door. But to her surprise, when the door opens, she sees these two children. They look around, 11, 12 years old. They're dressed in all black. There's a little girl, she's got a black dress on. The young boy has some kind of black suit on. And she says, oh, you know, what are you doing at my door at 11 o'clock at night? And they said, please, help us. We're lost. Let us come inside. And she's like, what do you mean you're lost? And they go, we're lost. Can we use your phone? Let us come inside. So she said, you know, why were you banging on the door? Why didn't you just use the doorbell? And both these kids, they look kind of puzzled, like they had no idea what she was talking about, like they had no idea what a doorbell was. So she felt bad, and she thought maybe they were in danger. So she opens her door and she lets them in. So she says, look, I'm going to go find my cell phone. I'm going to call for help. We'll figure this out. So she goes to get her cell phone. And these kids run off. And they start going into different rooms around the house. And they're jumping on beds. They're screaming. They're making all kinds of ruckus. They're breaking things. And so she goes, you know, from bedroom to bedroom, following them around. And she starts saying, like, you need to leave. You need to get out of my house. And they start laughing at her. They say, Helen, we are never leaving. She said, look, I don't know who you kids are. It's time to go. And she said the one kid, the boy, he grabs her arm, which his hand felt ice cold. And he looks her right in the eyes. And that's when she realized he had these solid, big, black eyes. This was not a boy. This was something else. So she runs out of the house, goes to the neighbor, tells him what's going on. The neighbor goes over to her house. But when he goes inside, there's no one there. And he says to Helen, you know, are you sure? Like, this happened, like, you know, it's late. Were you tired? Maybe you had a dream. She goes, no, I'm telling you, these kids came into my house and there was something off about them. And that's when the neighbor notices these little footprints leading directly towards the woods.
Anyways, y'all, episode is now officially over. Hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace out.